coming for you anyway. Take on me. Take on me. Take on me. I'll be gone.
Our program will begin shortly. Please make your way to your seats and welcome Homeport Board Chair, Robin Judge.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at our twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you.
Voice and Vision celebration. I'm happy to see so many of you here because we need this. We need rooms full of people who care, who want to be part of strengthening our community. Our theme acknowledges the uncertain landscape we're in. We've said the words unprecedented so many times in the last 5 years, it's nearly lost its meaning. But that is what the threats we face are. Many of Homeport's peers are sunsetting or reducing the scope of incredibly impactful programs due to the state and federal funding changes we've seen. At this time, we are in serious need of more funding, not less. This resonates with me personally because I grew up in affordable housing. In fact, one of the places I lived was on Olmsted, now renamed Tompkins Village, and I had a full circle moment of coming back and opening up the revitalized home. And I lived there when I was a toddler. Like so many low-income families, we moved around quite a bit whenever the rent was raised. We finally found stability when my mom was able to own her own home due to a program financed by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. How many futures have now become uncertain or forever altered because of shrinking access to housing? Still, looking around the room today and the resilience in this room and an energy to be put in motion, I'm excited that we can get this done. I'm also excited to hear from all of our speakers today. Homeport President and CEO Leah Evans, who drives our mission forward with passion. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Michael J. Hicks, an economist who will give needed context to our housing crisis. We'll end with a panel discussion with Leah moderating and panelists Dr. Hicks, Elizabeth Brown from YWCA, and Charles Hillman of the Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority. It's bound to be a very enlightening conversation. Before we begin our program, I want to thank the sponsors who make our work possible, beginning with our presenting sponsors, IBP and MI Homes, our strong community partners, Fifth Third Bank, Orange Barrel Media, our cornerstone sponsors, AEP Foundation, Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority, Huntington, Kelly Companies, Liberty Mutual, Nationwide Foundation, OCCH, and the Robert Weiler Company. Our education empowerment sponsor, EMH&T, our opportunity sponsors, Amundsen Davis, the Columbus Dispatch, Columbus Realtors, Crane Group, JP Morgan Chase, Park National Bank, and Wallach. Our security sponsors, Affordable Housing Trust, Casto, Civista Bank, Clark Schaefer Hackett, Elford Enterprise, Scott Failer, First National Bank, First Merchants Bank, GBQ, Impact Community Action Agency, and Donna and Larry James. Let's do sponsors line. We'd also like to acknowledge the many public officials or their representatives in attendance from the federal, state, and local levels. Thank you, and thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters of Homeport. Before Voice and Vision officially kicks off, I get to present our Spirit of Homeport Award to a partner that, when it comes to their support for Homeport and our programming, the limit truly does not exist. Park National Bank and their support has made sweeping impacts through our homebuyer education programs, down payment assistance funds, and our lease option program, providing flexible financing options to homebuyers. Through their generous investments and active involvement, they have strengthened and stabilized Central Ohio families in our community at large. Thank you, and congratulations to Park National Bank.
Please welcome to the stage Brian Elder and team members of Park National Bank, our Spirit of Homeport Award recipients.
Yes, I'll step. Got yours, sir? Thank you so much. Yep. I'll leave that. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you leave that. No, that's mine. That's yours. I'm sorry.
Oh, have mercy. All right. Good morning. Good to see you all. Thank you. Well, it's officially noon, so good afternoon. In case we have not met, I'm Leah Evans. I want to thank Robin. Thank you for getting us started. Thank you to our peers and supporters at Park National. We're going to do a lot of thank yous today, so just get ready for the gratitude to pour forth. We think it's important that we celebrate not only the work that we get to do in communities, but the people who allow us to do it and help us to do that. So I get to say thank you a lot. So thank you again to Park National. As Robin shared, they have been a tremendous partner as we have really looked at how do we keep people in and engaged in home buying. It's a difficult time out there, and we'll talk more about that later, but really appreciate their support and how they've represented and live out that spirit of Homeport. So thank you. And Cheryl, who's on our board, was not able to join us today, so I want to thank her as well from Park. I love our Spirit of Homeport Award because it does give us the opportunity to just really show that appreciation and recognize how we see each other in the work. We have another award to give as well. This is a brand new award, so I'm very excited to be able to give out our very first Rooted in Mission Award. We have really, as a team, internally, we have a council of employees that started our Rooted in Mission Council, and it really is our opportunity to ground ourselves in why we do what we do. We created that this year, and this year it's going to go to someone who acts out our mission to build strong communities in all the ways that she works and that she leads. Seeing her passion for housing, it is clear that we share a common vision and that she sees every person having an affordable home and being in places where they have the opportunity to succeed. So I'm honored to not only on behalf of Homeport, but also our peers at the NeighborWorks Collaborative of Ohio to present to Senator Michelle Reynolds our very first Rooted in Mission Award. Senator
Please
Reynolds-
welcome to the stage the Honorable Senator Michelle Reynolds, our Rooted in Mission Award recipient.
Thank you, James. Senator Reynolds represents Ohio's 3rd Senate District, and in recognition of her passionate advocacy for affordable housing and community development, we wanted to acknowledge her work. She has removed development barriers for organizations like us, addressed widespread housing challenges across the state, and brought together stakeholders on both sides of the aisles to address our issues. We are so fortunate to have a champion of housing working in our state, and we look forward to a continued partnership. Congratulations, Senator Reynolds.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am State Senator Michelle Reynolds, and it's truly an honor to be here. Thank you, Leah, for your vision. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for all that you do and Homeport does to sustain our families and to drive affordable housing policy forward. I am just someone who really cares passionately about affordable housing. Background is a third-generation business owner working in this space from the time that my grandparents opened a group home for the developmentally disabled when I was 4 years old. I developed a passion very early for helping marginalized people, and that is the passion that I carry forward to the State House. So first, I just want to say how honored I am to receive this Rooted in Mission Award. To Homeport, I want to say thank you. Thank you for not only the recognition, but also being a steadfast force in the fight for affordable housing. Your leadership is shaping lives, and I am proud to walk alongside of you in this mission. Despite of what is going on in the federal government, we are making housing a priority here in the state of Ohio. To all of you in this room, developers, bankers, community leaders, faith-based partners, public servants, thank you. Thank you not only for being here, but thank you for all that you do, because what we're building together isn't just housing, we're building futures. This award is a beautiful reminder, but it also is a charge to stay rooted in people, not just policy, rooted in community and not just construction, rooted in the belief that every person deserves the dignity of a safe, affordable place to call home. As chair of the Senate Housing Committee, that is not just my belief, it's my why. It is why I continue to advocate for families who are working hard, trying to age in place or living with disabilities and still face housing and find housing out of reach. We made a tremendous stride in housing in this past state budget. I'm proud that we were able to get over $125 million in the budget to move housing policy forward in the state of Ohio. And I truly believe that in 26, thank you. I truly believe that together in 2026, it can be a turning point for even greater results. And we will show Washington, D.C. how we get things done here in Ohio. And as we gear up for this next year, let's push for more innovative development that reflects the needs of real people. Let's remove regulatory barriers to affordability and unlock creative partnerships that break silos. Let's turn every challenge into an opportunity and every opportunity into impact. Homeport, again, thank you for helping us stay rooted in what truly matters. I accept this award with deep gratitude and even deeper resolve, and I will continue to look forward to new progress next year and partnership and purpose alongside each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Again, lots of awards, so that's just 2. I got a couple more, so just hang with me. I can't believe we're already here. It's been quite a year. I love that we do this in the fall. We don't do it, we do it towards the end of the year, but not quite, so we can think about all the things we've already accomplished, but we still got one more quarter to push through. So we're going to celebrate some of the things that we've done this year, but also look forward to what we still yet want to accomplish and how we think about next year. It's been quite a year. And that's why we wanted to embrace a theme that could reflect the challenges we face and acknowledge the power we have together to rise above those challenges. Yes, we do have power. And when we combine our individual power, we can affect real change. As we grapple with another year in a worsening housing situation, change is something that we desperately need. That's why when I see cranes in the sky or orange cones on the street, I usually am pretty excited about it. I know, isn't that weird? That's strange. But I don't find that a reason to be upset. I find it a reason to rejoice. However disruptive construction can be, it also means that we're a region that is growing and changing. And some of us may feel that that change is happening too fast, we don't want it, and that we can't figure out how to really adapt to it. But that's why we're here. We're stronger together. We get to decide how change happens in our community. All of it takes is us stepping up and stacking hands and allowing what we're individually good at to become part of our collective effort. That's how the work really gets done. Last May, Homeport and the Federal Home Loan Bank of Cincinnati and Convergence Ohio stacked hands and launched the Rise Up Down Payment Assistance Program. Federal Home Loan Bank invested over $6 million in contributions that allowed 240 families to move into homes that they could call their own. This time last year, one of those families, the Afalaranchos, who you just heard Fatima sing, they moved into their home in Canal Winchester. So as Fatima and her husband Kazim heard about opening our program, they rushed to find out how they could be a part of it. They had a full team helping them, including their realtor, Tara, and their loan officer, Angie, both of whom worked tirelessly to make sure they had what they need to close on their home before the holidays. The impact? Well, you get to see that for yourself.
It takes a village to get people into homes. Working with the lender, working with Rise Up program, grant programs of this nature, working with realtors, all the partners are on the same page to get the job done. The feeling of getting them into this home was victorious.
I know that I cried. We all cried tears of joy. It was the most exhilarating feeling to know that we have put them in their first and forever home.
I am so grateful. God bless y'all.
I'm grateful for my family that we have at home. I'm glad to call something my family home.
Thank you, Fatima and Kazim, for sharing your story with us, but they're just one family. Stability through housing has cascading impacts that we don't always notice. Renters becoming homeowners, children graduating high school, adults gaining steady employment, and seniors living longer lives. It's the quiet comfort of a smooth and well-running housing system that you can take for granted. It's when that stability is absent that we notice the problems. In 2020, average rents skyrocketed and haven't gone down since. We're on track for well over 24,000 evictions yet again this year, and a third of our families are still living housing cost burdened. So what does that mean for our community? It means folks without housing are sleeping in public spaces. It means higher crime rates among our young people. It means increased rates of chronic disease. These are the stories that make headlines. But here, today, we want to write better headlines. We want headlines about people in housing living their best lives with support from resident services and other partners like the work we do with Life Care Alliance. They truly show up for our senior residents. They bring weekly hot meals and access to their full range of services to our older adult communities. We met with Barbie Edison at our Hamilton Crossing community to hear how our partnership has benefited her.
Oh, the weekly dining centers are wonderful because we get a chance to be with one another and socialize. The other services that Life Care Alliance provides for us is pet services. They really do take care of your pets. My dog is Sugar. He's a 5-year-old Shih Tzu. and he thinks he owns the place. I let him out at night and he runs up and down the halls. He's wonderful.
Homeport and Life Care Alliance both serve people in need. So I think that makes a great partnership. We hope that we can keep them healthy. We can teach them how to stay healthy, and in that way they'll be able to be independent, which is what they all want to be. Homeport does housing, and Life Care Alliance tries to assist them with food and other services. We've got the same outcome in mind.
Jack said it. We have the same outcome in mind. That's what Stronger Together means. We all want a community that is thriving, one where we have all what we need and the resources we need to go after what we want. How each of us contributes to that end will differ from person to person. That's something we know to be true at Homeport. Some of us in our office develop homes. Some of us crunch the numbers. Some of us help home buyers, prospective home buyers, get into housing. What unites us is our mission to build stronger communities through housing. Without all of us, we couldn't be here today.
Homeport's work is not just about housing you today, it's about housing you for the future.
We help them find security through the services we provide, but then we can also connect them to opportunity, whether that's to our homebuyer education program so that they can become homeowners, or to education or employment training. And so we can kind of bring all of those things together through our work.
My favorite part of the job is being able to assist the client into developing their plan to become a first-time homeowner. That's my single most joy.
It's not easy work, but it's rewarding. It's rewarding work. If we don't do it, if our partners don't do it, who will? Who will? If we're gonna make a difference, we can't stop now. We have to continue moving forward.
Thank you, Homeport team. As you guys see, I get to work with some pretty great people every day who live with purpose and who work with passion. And as you heard Angela say, if we're going to make a difference, we can't stop now. We have to continue to move forward. We live at the intersection of the past and future of our community. The question is not, will things change, but how will they change? And you can let change happen to you, or you can join in and be an active part in the world we want to create. All of us can do something we care about, something we're good at, something that makes a difference in our community. Throughout today's event, we're running a campaign to raise $10,000 for our children and older adult programs. Just think, if everyone in this room gave $20,000, okay, you could give 20. I'll take 20. I'll take 20,000. If everybody in this room gave 20, we could meet that in minutes. That's collective power. That's being stronger together. So, am I supposed to introduce the speaker? I'm sorry, y'all, real quick. Am I doing that, James, or are you doing that, James? James is going to do that. I want to thank everyone for being here today. We have a great program ahead. I want to congratulate our two honorees, Michael Corey, our Voice Award winner, Jeff Edwards, our Vision Award winner. Both Michael and Jeff truly live the lives of the awards they are going to get. As the director of the Human Services Chamber, Michael has been able to go to bat for nonprofits like Homeport by cutting through the noise of the 24-hour news cycle to deliver powerful messages that unite and empower our community organizations and their workers. Similarly, Jeff and Install Building Products and Edward Companies stand as a testament to what business leaders can do in their community. His vision for Columbus always accounts for those most in need. His ongoing support for his community and affordable housing in particular has changed the lives of hundreds of our Homeport residents. So now please enjoy a short video of Michael and Jeff's close friends and colleagues sharing exactly why they were chosen for these awards.
I mean, I think pretty much everybody would admit that if you've got an unstable environment around kind of your home life or your dwelling, that having the ability to succeed economically and prosper, education, a lot of things, and even your health gets impaired. What Homeport does and their mission aligns pretty much perfectly with one of a kind of a three-legged stool that IBP believes in, and that relates to affordable and secure housing. Unfortunately, I'm going to get a little bit political here, but I mean, with what's going on in Washington and around funding, more and more of the problems and the opportunities that we need to deal with in the community are going to need to be, taken on and absorbed. You can't just, lay it on just city and county and state and say they have to figure it out, because it isn't figured out right now. And it's really time that, the private community and private business and individuals are going to have to step up in a way in which they haven't had to do in decades, quite frankly.
This is not a time for complacency. This is not a time for sitting back. This is not a time for being conciliatory. This is a time for finding your people, building coalitions, and fighting like hell. We have to find common ground. We have to focus on problem solving. We can't leave anybody behind. We can't be okay with things not being as good for the generation in front of us than the generation behind us.
I think it's fantastic that Michael Corey is receiving the award alongside of myself. What he does every day is far different than our writing a check and maybe participating in a few playground projects. And so for that, you gotta really admire him for his, the passion and what he's working on every day in this regard.
Congratulations to Jeff. If every business leader were like Jeff, we'd be in a whole lot better place. People say nice things about him behind his back all the time, and he deserves it.
At this time, the role of the Human Service Chamber in particular, when we feel like the human service sector is under a bit of attack, right? Just because of what is happening, especially at the national level. But Michael, his convening of the human service community really provides just a bright light, a sense of calm and connectedness that you can't find, especially when your head's just down and you're doing the work. And so we owe him a great debt of gratitude for keeping us connected, keeping us strong, and keeping us together.
Michael is a very humble guy. He's a voice for the unheard and the unseen. Without his leadership and his passion and his commitment, the goals of the Human Service Chamber and other organizations that he's worked with would not be met.
I've seen Michael use his voice to advocate for the community, really, and just making sure that anyone who doesn't have a seat at the table is represented in what he has to say when he's invited to those tables. He's really fighting for those who are left out or those who need a louder voice at the table, and ensuring that anything that they're asking for or advocating for, that he's on the front line and doing as much himself.
Jeff's vision for the community is way beyond just buildings and structures. He cares about people, and his vision goes beyond simple architecture or brick and mortar. He cares about the holistic person, and so Jeff's concerned about their well-being. He has a vision in how to impact them body, spirit, and soul.
Jeff and everything that he does has a vision and an aspiration for, Columbus to be a place that works for everyone. Whether it's action on affordable housing, and involvement, whether it's his action on financial literacy, his action on bringing arts to the community. Jeff is someone who relentlessly believes that everything we're doing as a community have to work for people up and down the stratosphere of economic status.
Congratulations, Michael. It is an honor to celebrate you, and it has been an honor to work with you.
I just want to congratulate Michael Corey. I just could not be more proud of him. He's just a tireless worker and a really good guy.
Congratulations, Mike. Really proud of you for winning the Voice Award, and wish you all the best.
Well, who better to receive this award than someone like Jeff Edwards, who every day wakes up in our city thinking about how he can make it better, how he can help someone, how he can make sure that people stay housed, how he can make sure that people are more financially literate, how he can make sure that young people have an access and opportunity to their future through the Columbus Promise. Who could be more deserving than Jeff Edwards?
Jeff, I can't think of anybody more deserving than you to win this award, especially with the way that you've helped collaborate, not only with us at the Salvation Army, but through multiple partners and different companies in Central Ohio. Your impact and your generosity of your time, your treasure, and your talent has made people's lives better here. Congratulations. Well done.
Jeff, my heartiest congratulations. Appreciate everything that we do professionally, but more importantly, just simply appreciate you as a friend.
Presenting the 2025 Voice and Vision Award recipients, our Voice Awardee, Michael Corey, and our Voice Awardee, Jeff Edwards.
I guess I'm talking now. They were unwise and didn't give me a script. That's not a good thing to do for a recovering lawyer like me. First and foremost, I thought this was a big table event. I thought we were going to be talking, we're biggest table. I know a lot of you have those to look forward to later today. We're hosting one at 1:30. I'm very excited about that. Homeport, first and foremost, thank you so much for everything that you do. Ms. Leah, thank you so much for your heroic leadership. Can everyone on the Homeport team please stand up and receive the applause of this room? I want to thank my wonderful team at the Human Service Chamber, most of whom are here up front. They make what we do possible. They work extremely hard to support 230 health and human services nonprofits in the community. I am the most grateful boss to have a team like them. They bring tremendous grit and principle and heart to the work. I'm so grateful to them. I want to thank all of my bosses in the room, including, of course, Ms. Leah. Many of my board members are here. They really are my bosses. And all of the CEOs and exec directors in the sector. So grateful to all of you for the work that you do and allowing us to be part of it in support of you every day. Of course, I want to thank my family and my friends that are here, friends who are like family, especially my mother, Georgiana, my wife, Lori. Excuse me, holding it together. But I also want to thank all of you for being here. You are the reason we're going to get through whatever it is that we're going through is. You are the reason that the nonprofit community in Columbus is going to navigate the challenges that are before us, that are ahead of us. Thank you for everything you are doing to support this wonderful organization and all of the wonderful organizations that I know you are engaged in across the Columbus region. I have a couple more minutes, I think, so I'm going to use them. People ask us all the time, what can we do? And I have a couple of ideas. First, know that every act of helping helps. Whatever it is you choose to do that works in your life, your workplace, every act of helping helps. Second, be informed. That's surprisingly hard these days. Be organized. That's really hard these days. Be brave. That's hard these days too. Be ready to act, whatever that action looks like in your life. But most importantly, support Columbus nonprofits. We all have to take care of ourselves and one another in this moment. That is the way through. That is the way through the challenges that the people we serve, that we work with, even ourselves, are going to have. This is a moment of uncertainty, but it's also a moment of hope. I know two things for certain in this moment of uncertainty. Tomorrow will be hard, but tomorrow there will be hope, and that hope is because of each of you. Thank you so much for this recognition.
Please welcome the 2025 Vision Award recipient, Jeff Edwards.
I'm truly honored to accept the Homeport Vision Award, and I'm sorry I can't be with you in person tonight to celebrate. But I didn't want to miss the chance to share my gratitude with the leadership, staff, and supporters who make this organization such a vital part of Central Ohio. At Installed Building Products, we know that housing is more than just four walls. It's where families build their lives, raise their children, and create stability for the future. That's why we value our partnership with Homeport. Their mission is about more than building homes. It's about creating opportunity, security, and dignity for thousands of families across Central Ohio. I also want to recognize tonight's fellow honoree, Michael Corey. His work with the Human Service Chamber has made such a difference in bringing together voices to advocate for the most vulnerable in our community. This award is a valuable reminder that when individuals, businesses, and community organizations join forces, we can make a lasting impact. I'm grateful to be part of that effort, and I look forward to continuing our shared work in the years ahead. Thank you again to Homeport for this recognition, and thank you to everyone here this afternoon for your commitment to strengthening our community. I wish you all a wonderful day.
And now we have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Michael Hicks, Director of the Center for Business and Economic Research at Ball State University. Dr. Hicks's research touches on local public finance and the effect on public policy on economic activity. He has been authored 3 books, more than 50 scholarly papers, and his work has been highlighted in such outlets as Rolling Stone, The Economist, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Times, and Washington Post. Welcome, Dr. Hicks.
Thank you all. Next slide, please. I'm really humbled to be with you today and be around the amazing work that you all are doing for the people of Columbus and Central Ohio. But to be honest, I'm an economist. If you really want to be humbled in 2025, try to understand just what's going on in the economy. I think that PhD in economics was the wrong field to understand 2025. Psychology, maybe. Anthropology of chaos monkeys, hard to know for sure. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk to you about 4 things and I'm going to try to go fast because I'm really interested in what my fellow panelists will have to say after this. I'm going to talk about labor markets because if you're thinking about housing, if you're thinking about housing people and providing stability, you need to think about labor markets, capital markets, and housing markets. And I'll try to tie these together at the end. Next slide. So what we have here is a depiction of job growth, cumulative employment growth in the Columbus metropolitan statistical area since the turn of the century. And what you can see here is healthy employment growth across 4 different domains. People with a bachelor's degree or higher, people who've been to college or have an associate's degree. The data is a little bit clumsy in differentiating them. People who've just graduated from high school and the people who've not completed high school. And we're talking about folks who are 25 and older, so I'm ignoring the 18 to 25-year-old crowd here. Why this is important is that this reflects healthy growth. If you look nationwide, over this same time period, 81% of all the net job growth has occurred amongst people who have graduated from college or have an advanced degree. And the other really 21% has gone to folks who have an associate's degree or been to college. There's been no net job growth for people with a high school degree or less. And so what you're seeing here is labor demand and economic opportunity across the spectrum. And that's one of the things that makes this community healthier. And I'll just say right now, this community, Central Ohio, the greater Columbus area, you've seen about 130% of Ohio's population and economic growth here in this region. So you're not only sucking in people and economic activity from around the country, you're sucking in also from other parts of Ohio. So the story for this area is vastly different than 45 minutes or an hour south of here or 2 hours northwest of here. Next slide, please. This is 40 years of a home price index. These are sale prices. And the reason I want to show you this is to show you that home prices here in Ohio or here in Columbus and Ohio have largely stayed on track with inflation from 1976. So imagine me with big brown hair, 1976. In high school, all the way through about 2017, 2018. And so all that, at that point, the overall inflation rate, wage growth, housing costs, housing prices here in Columbus had largely tracked together. So it may have looked pricey, but it was still tracking on the ability of families to buy those. And then something happened 7 to 8 years ago that saw home prices spike enormously. And there are a number of things. People want to live here. They want to live here because of quality of life. You have great urban amenities, good schools. There's a lot going on here to attract people. There has been growth in housing supply, just not as robust as we'd like to see. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. And then starting in COVID, which we saw slides about the 2020 crisis, during COVID, there was obviously a labor shock. There was a shock to supplies for housing. There was a shock to cost of housing. All of that went together with people moving from other places to places like Columbus. So the long-term prospects for Columbus as a consequence of being able to work from home and COVID have been good. The short-term in part has been these price spikes. And we're not quite over some problems here. I'll show you that in a minute. Next slide. I always like to show this to people here. How many baby boomers out there do we have? You guys are looking at this and going, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was trying to tell you, stuff was worse in the 80s and 70s in terms of mortgage rates. It's still a shock to young people. My niece, my daughter are looking to buy homes in Florida and North Carolina, and they're shocked at mortgage rates. The current level is below the historical average. It's still very high based on the last 3 decades, and so that's probably not going anywhere as fast as we would like. But borrowing costs have remained relatively low over the past couple decades, except for this COVID spike, which will be with us longer. Next slide, please. U.S. home ownership rates and home ownership rates in Ohio have been fairly stable. And so we're not seeing the decline in home ownership that you get in the press and the narrative of it. What this masks, however, is that for those of us who lived through those big interest rate shocks, those of us who are older, we own homes at higher rates, and the home ownership rate of those under 20 or under 35 are much lower than they have been historically. So that's part of the housing crisis, is that we see households in that what we would normally assume are at their family formation stage are not able to buy homes. And that also then affects rents and home prices for other folks around the region, particularly those that you serve. Next slide, please. I wanted to show this because this is a good story. Let me tell you a couple things about poverty. Adult poverty in a large metro area is, if it's growing, is often a sign that people are moving here for opportunity. So I've talked to folks in Chattanooga, for example, who were shocked at this growth in poverty, but it was all young people moving in to take advantage of economic opportunity. Poverty for families is a different story. And if you just look at the growth, the proportional growth in overall population in this metro area and overall population of children in poverty, or these are really my proxy for families in poverty, we've seen a more robust economic conditions for those folks. Now, it's slowed down a great deal over the past 5 years, which will bleed over into the, I think social services are going to feel a bit more pain with this, but things are better now in many ways than they were 20 years ago in terms of poverty in Columbus with families. But the real problem, next slide, is that housing stock has just not kept up with employment growth. And I thought about, should I show this in logarithmic forms to show it? I thought, I'll just show you the numbers. So we've added 450,000 workers in the central Ohio area, the greater Columbus metropolitan statistical area this century, and 215,000 housing units. Now, I don't know how many of those folks are married with one another. I don't know how many people are in the same household. I always doubt a little bit that the housing captures everything fully. Some of these could be two-person units that are not reported well. Bottom line is, this is the gap. It's a gap of supply. That shouldn't shock any of you. I will tell you, though, as I talk around the country on housing, I'm going to Lansing next week to talk about housing and some of the federal chaos monkey stuff that we're seeing. The housing problem in rural areas is the other way around. If you come to Muncie, Indiana, where I live and work, we have 5,000 extra homes there, 5,000 vacant homes, perfectly fine to inhabit. You don't have that here. You don't have anything like that here. So, next slide, please. This region, this city, this metropolitan statistical area is a magnet for people. And because it's a magnet for people, you're not ever really going to solve the housing supply issue, and you're not going to completely solve the price issue because people want to live here. And they're going to want to continue to live here until housing gets so expensive they don't want to move here. Now, we'll talk a little bit about what causes that in a minute in the next slide. Back up one, sorry. Home prices are rising, and that makes it unaffordable for a big chunk of folks. And I don't know how big it is now, but again, the same niece of mine who was moving from Sarasota, thinking about moving from Sarasota to Columbus with this big national firm she works with. She likes that she'd be closer to her mom and dad who are in southern Indiana, just outside of Louisville. And she said, well, gosh, the housing issue in Columbus isn't any better than the one in Sarasota. And so you're experiencing those typical big city problems in terms of prices. It's not mortgages, it's not home ownership rates, it's something else. Next slide. It's not families in poverty, it's just this excess, this lagging supply of housing. So what could be causing that lagging supply of housing? All right, so it sort of started in 2018, 2019. There was not a lot other than tight labor markets at that point to suggest there was anything that was going to cause this level of tightness, not just here, but around the country. In 2020, there surely was. In 2020, we had a dearth of construction. In 2021, we had very high prices and very high wages for construction workers. So if you wanted a new home in that time period, you were not able probably to buy into a home that was as inexpensive as you thought it would be, even if your mortgage interest rates were very low. At that point, below, in real terms, below zero. By 2022 and 2023, the price of building a new home in much of the United States was higher than what you could get for it in sale. And so we didn't see new home construction. And if you took a mental snapshot of that earlier picture, that's what we observed. So that is what's been happening up until maybe 2024. We thought we might, in last calendar year, see some slowdown in higher prices. And then, well, we got the tariff chaos monkey. And the tariff chaos monkey have affected home prices substantially, 12 to 15% in terms of the cost of construction of a new home or a new multifamily unit is tied up in tariff. And so that there have been delays on it, there have been lags, there's been import of some of this material to try to beat the tariffs, but none of it is going to result in long-term stabilization of prices. Next slide. So now I'm going to talk about the near future. I think we're in an economic downturn. I think the data that was not released 2 weeks ago by the BLS because of the government shutdown will show the fourth or fifth declining month of employment. That was the last indicator of economic activity shrinking. The higher gross domestic product, the growth that we've seen involves companies selling off their pre-tariff orders. Here in Ohio, manufacturers bought about 8 months worth of pre-tariff goods that are now just working their way through retailers and out to car dealerships and RV dealers and elsewhere. So that's an artificial bump. The second artificial bump we have comes from capital markets. Capital markets right now have everything except artificial intelligence has stalled. And so 92% of all capital investment so far this year has been in the data center artificial intelligence domain, and that's not just data centers, it's power plants, it's the grid for electricity and telecommunications, it's buying logs to put up the wires, it's digging the ditches and the trenches to do this. That is, in my judgment, spilling over into housing. A survey that I saw yesterday by construction trades sector said that 1 out of every 5 of their workers is under contract to build a data center in the United States. So that's 20% of all our workers. I just finished a study of data centers in Texas, and they're not creating any jobs. They're not even creating any jobs in construction as net, because they're just moving people from building homes to building data centers. So I was in the epicenter for this in Abilene, Texas. Hotel rooms in Abilene now are $650 a night. Abilene's a nice town. It's not worth $650 a night because there's no place for people to rent. There are college students can find no place to live. It is that extreme, and there's no housing going up because there's nobody there to build that housing. If there's a capital market shock, which is a fancy way of saying that we're going to see a big negative shock to the stock values on AI, that could spill over to the overall market, but it could also free up labor to work on homes and do other things over the next year. Nationally, and these housing shocks or price shocks, I think, are happening right now. If you look at several major cities in the U.S., that you're seeing home prices reverse. That's not happening here. I don't think it's going to happen here quite as heavily as it's going to in some places, where we're going to see a substantial decline in home prices as a consequence of overbuilding or excess supply. Florida is that way for a number of reasons involving insurance and other places. It's a different issue, but I suspect right now, if you look at just home listings, we're at a very high level, not inconsistent with where we might have been in 2006 or 2007. I don't think we have that kind of excess supply, certainly because of the prices are suggestive of a shortage. I'm still saying that if you're thinking about buying a home next year, might be a pretty good year. Next slide. So you've just gone through some zoning changes to make zoning freer. But according to, there have been several national studies of the cost of zoning, the cost of building a home. And in those studies, the city of Columbus and the metro area both come in the bottom 10 in terms of least regulated. They do very well in this area. The problem with those studies is they're really good at using AI to read the code to see how restrictive the code is. They're not very good at understanding how long the lag is between the moment somebody wishes to build a home and that home materializes. So even if you have on paper fairly clean regulatory language, the actual process of processing the regulation, building the infrastructure to support new housing can be very lengthy. And I think that's part of it. Even in places that do a good job self-regulating, have less of a NIMBY problem, having the fiscal capacity to build out water sewer, having the capacity to add lane miles to roads is an inhibition to expansion. And why is this important to you all? Because any housing supply growth suppresses price growth beyond what it would have been and frees up housing for other people in middle income or lower income categories. So even if we're not talking about direct federal subsidies for the type of homeowner that you're talking about, building in any strata of income frees up some housing downstream of it. Second, the federal support for my reading of the One Big Beautiful Bill, and I haven't got through it. I promised to read War and Peace 7 times before I pick up the full OBB. The One Big Beautiful Bill has about a 2/3 cut reduction in HUD payments. And it's shifting federal support for low income or what's often called worker housing. I hate that name, moderate income housing. That support's coming through other private sector mechanisms, new market tax credits, opportunity zones, low income and housing tax credits. The history of these are checkered, particularly the opportunity zones have shown to have some effect in housing supply. The new market tax credits, my study didn't find any significant housing supply shock in Indiana in the first round of it, but it's possible that will change if there's pressure on other instruments of federal support. So I'd encourage everybody here to think about how you work more with the private sector. Talk to your banking colleagues here about how that works. The other thing that I think is going to be a challenge here, the federal budget, whatever we're going through right now, is not going to result in a substantial reduction in the deficit. And that means that the Federal Reserve's ability to transmit lower policy interest rates to lower mortgage rates that would make it more affordable for more households to buy a home is going to be muted by the magnitude of our debt and the inability of us to negotiate a debt reduction deal down the road. And so while we're seeing mortgage rates slide a little bit, I think most economists believe we're in a new higher interest rate world way down the road, and I don't think there's anything we can do about it. Last slide. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to share these slides with you. And that's all the comments I have before our panel. Thank you.
Our panel discussion, Real Talk, the State of Nonprofits and the Future of Housing, will now begin. Please welcome the discussion moderator, Leah Evans, and panelist Elizabeth Brown, President and CEO of YWCA Columbus, Dr. Michael Hicks, and Charles Hillman, President and CEO of the Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority.
So, thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us. I want to know what you think. That's why we brought you all here. Really want to see how you are thinking about the future, right? We want to talk about where we've been, but I'm really wanting to know what's top of your mind for 2026. And so my first question is, Elizabeth, from your seat at the YW and from your work as a public legislator and as a civic leader, what are you seeing as, I think we recognize Dr. Hicks's comments that Columbus, we have it good in a lot of ways. We have a lot of great things going. I got to talk to my peers in other markets that aren't growing in population, don't have the job creation. So I do recognize we have a lot of great things going. What are you seeing with people that you see every day? And how are they experiencing the growth and things that are happening in the community?
Thank you for that question, Leah, and thank you for having us here. This is really great. A little drop of inspiration in the day, and congratulations especially to Michael. So thank you for the question. YWCA, we serve 50 plus families every single night in emergency shelter. And those families today are more and more likely to be working full time and still end up in homelessness. So that's one thing that I like to highlight in terms of how we think about solutions to the housing crisis. There are a lot of reasons why families enter our doors because they've experienced an episode of homelessness. If we have 50 families in the shelter every night, there are 50 reasons. And some of that, it gets down to the fact that they couldn't afford their house anymore. But the contributing factors to that often have to do with wages not rising as quickly as some of these other, economic factors that Dr. Hicks pointed out for the region as a whole. They don't reach our folks. So they get up, they go to work every day, and they still find with their children that they cannot find a place to live. The second thing I'll point out is that it is becoming harder and harder for our staff to rehouse the families. So 20 years ago, we actually celebrated our 20th anniversary of the Family Center just last week. And, we're celebrating it later this month, but we turned 20 last week. And 20 years ago, when families got to the Family Center, it took us about 2 weeks to get them rehoused. It was really a matter of matchmaking a family with a lease, with a landlord, with a unit. And today, it takes over 105 days to rehouse a family. That right there is all we need to know about the economic pinch on families in our housing system.
Thank you for that, Elizabeth. Charles, you've worked in a bigger market than this. You've brought a very entrepreneurial bent to the work that the Housing Authority is doing and really established it as a leader across the country. Tell us, as you think about the growth of Columbus being a major metro, but comparatively, when we think about what could be, like what are some of the pitfalls you've seen in some of the other major metros and some of the other larger cities, how do we think about avoiding those and really, again, as Elizabeth was saying, continue to lift up the families that are the ones that are struggling and don't let them be left behind?
So thank you all for having me here today, and thank Homeport and all of you for coming here and continuing to focus on the mission of providing housing for all people. So to talk about the current state, the reality of it is cost of material, cost of construction, cost of labor, cost of land have all increased, not at the same rate as wages. And so as a result of that, while we continue to build and have creative partnerships, the reality of it is the cost to build do not meet the wage for people to pay. Unfortunately, I don't believe that there'll be enough subsidies to help offset these costs to help people who don't meet the wage requirements to pay average rents. For that, I think creative solutions require us to be more partners. I think it requires us to build communities that are more organic in the sense of serving the entire spectrum. We must look at business models that provide opportunities for the entire spectrum. I was talking to Liz before we came up here about the question is, what is affordable housing, everyone, right? And we all, when we get in our head, we all have a different opinion of what affordable housing really is. Affordable housing is for every one of us. Affordable housing is housing that people who work can afford to live in. And we have got to do a better job of serving the entire spectrum for people who need housing in our community.
Thank you for that. Dr. Hicks, you were sharing again that there's a lot of positives about our market. Can you talk to me about, I've heard some economists talk about a two-speed economy, whereby there are some, as you recognize, that are doing well, but some that are, can you break down that two-speed economy and how you see that, again, showing up in the housing space?
Right. So if you're thinking about labor markets right now, the 2000 to 2004 period was a remarkable period of wage compression. So people at the lower income brackets saw their wages rise, in part because they're not working from home. Maybe the higher income households were at much higher rates. So there was more money available. They didn't rise as quickly as home costs did in a place like Columbus, but that was very encouraging to economists. So labor economists the last 4 or 5 years have been very enthusiastic since the end of COVID. That's reversed. And really over the past 10 months or so, really near the end of 2024, and certainly now, and the tariffs are shocking many of those workers. We're seeing an expansion of the wage gap between, say, the median worker and those at the lowest 10 or 15%. That's going to put great pressure on folks being able to afford housing in that category. Some of them may be younger. They may be able to modify their lifestyle, have a roommate, but for families, that's extraordinarily discouraging turnaround in labor markets that was the bright spot of the COVID downturn.
So, Elizabeth, if you're thinking about it, what does that mean that we need to do? So what would it look like if we had the resources or were able to close that gap more effectively? What would that mean for the work that you're doing?
So 2 things I would call out in terms of if we were doing things right, right? I would love to get to a situation where there is absolutely no homelessness, and I don't know that that is possible. I do know that it is possible for homelessness to be very brief and non-reoccurring, and that's really what we need to strive for as a community. And the brief, which I mentioned, we are very far from brief right now in how homelessness is experienced. So in order to really comprehensively look at solutions for housing when it comes to families, we need to be building for families. And that is one thing that any of you who are, I know I'm sitting with two developers and I know you get it. Any of you here who are developers, I appeal to you, please build 3 and 4 bedrooms. That when we simply talk about creating a product that is for workforce housing or for low-income housing, but we don't talk about what kind of individual may be able to live there, is it a head of household or if it is a single, we are missing. We are really missing families. And it's important to keep families at the center of our focus, because in a family, what do you have? You have 2 generations. Everything we do to support a parent supports a better future for our very own community, which, by the way, we will still live in when those children grow up, hopefully not having experienced any of those ACEs signs, right? And so we have to keep families at the center of our solutions. I would say that as number 1. And then number 2, we have to get real about the other contributing factors to our housing problems. So part of the reason that housing is so burdensome for folks, yes, it's because costs are going up, but other costs are going up too. The cost of childcare in our community continues to rise. The data on what it costs to send an infant to childcare just so you can work is astronomical. As much as $15,000 a year, I think, is the average in Ohio. Don't quote me, but it's right about that. So it's got to be a little bit higher in Franklin County. So if the very basics of supporting a family and going to work are unattainable for families, we are going to continue to see housing as the most obvious hole in the net that families fall through, right? So we've got to pay attention to what contributes to economic instability for families, in addition to the housing itself, which needs to focus, in my mind, partly on families.
Starting there. Charles, did you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I guess to Liz's point, we got to create more housing. Create more housing, create more housing. The solution is to create more housing, right? We cannot affect wages quickly enough, systemically enough. Wages will not keep pace with the cost of construction. So as a result of that, we've got to create more housing across the entire spectrum. We need to support people where they are, right? And we need to remove barriers for access to housing. When we start, as you heard Jeff Edwards say earlier, it's not government, it's going to be private and public partnerships which are going to advance this forward. We can no longer, nor should we ever, rely on the federal government to solve this local issue for us. As a community, I think it's us as a community to build, to develop, and to partner to provide access to housing from all of those across the spectrum. The mission of the Housing Authority is, by working with our collaborative partners, we renovate, develop, and maintain housing, but while providing our residents with access to needed social services. And I find that to be overwhelming as the leader of the organization, the mission in of itself. But it speaks to everything I've just said. We have to partner with people to build, and we have to partner with people to provide services so that we can improve and so families can thrive in the community I serve.
I'm going to stay with you real quick and talk a little bit more about the spectrum. Are you talking about geographic? Are you talking about price point? What are you saying when you're talking about the spectrum housing?
We believe at the Housing Authority that we have a responsibility to serve the entire spectrum, and what we define spectrum as all income levels. You'll hear about low income, you'll hear about workforce, you'll hear about market rate. You need them all. We need to develop across all of those spectrums. And the beauty of that is that opens us up for so many other people to get involved, because all people have certain markets that they focus on. We at the Housing Authority focus on people. We focus on families. We focus on special needs populations. So we need the help and support of all of you to help us develop to serve the entire spectrum.
Thank you. Dr. Hicks, can you share a little bit? You were, again, showing a graphic that, again, in the olden times, I do not want to think about double-digit interest rates. That blows my mind. But tell us, as you think about historically, what was happening then? Again, housing was being developed then. People were buying housing then. And what the context of is now that we're really struggling to be able to afford housing in a 6.5% interest rate. What is different now and then? And, maybe what are some things we can learn from the past or that we need to be doing as we go forward?
Great question. So in the 1970s, when you saw that huge spike in mortgage interest rates, I think they peaked at 19.5% in 79. We saw inflation across the board. Inflation lifts both wages and all other prices generally together. And so what we've seen since then is housing prices rise faster than wage, particularly the last decade or so, rise faster than wages overall for a variety of reasons. Some are structural, that's actually costs more to build, homes are bigger, there are more constructive elements in a home that makes it very different than the Levitt home that I grew up in the 1960s. If we had more of those Levitt communities, we'd be better off today. And that really, I think, is what's playing out that allowed people to buy because they expected inflation to persist. Their wages would go up, and that was built into expectations. The big spike in mortgage interest rates in 2022, 2023, nobody believed, most people didn't believe that was permanent. They were a little nervous about it. Wages lagged substantially. They did eventually catch up briefly, and then again, they're slipping. And so I think what we see now is this higher permanent mortgage interest rate in our horizon because it's going to be susceptible to our overall budget deficit. And as long as we have a deficit and a debt that's 110, 115% of our entire economy, that's going to keep borrowing costs high for everything that we borrow, including homes.
So as we think about, again, going forward in the 2026, what is something that you're excited about, something that looking forward to activating on, or something you and your team have been thinking about or talking about that you really are like, this is going to help us get a little bit closer to that healthy housing market that we want to have?
Are you asking me to access my optimism?
I'm just saying, yes, dig deep. You're like, find it in there, get to the hope.
I mean, that is a little hard.
Where's Michael? Where's the hope? Yes, get to the hope.
I thought you were going to ask me, what am I most in fear of? So if I am looking forward to 2026 and what I think we can do together as a community, the one thing I will call out is tangential to this housing conversation is obviously homelessness and making sure that we are able to support families in their times of crisis so that we can, along with building a robust housing system, we can also support families in crisis so that homelessness is brief and non-reoccurring. And in order to do that, I think our community needs to come to the table and fund shelter and housing like it is the basic physiological need that it is. We have 3 basic physiological needs: food, water, and shelter. And yet we fund one of them like it's a luxury. We fund shelter like it is a luxury and housing like it is a luxury. And we have to fundamentally change that mindset. And I actually do look forward to the fact that I think this community, because of rooms like this, because of leaders like this on this stage, understands that and can commit to it. So I am optimistic about that. It's something I'm looking forward to in 2026. And if you'll permit me, something I want to say I'm taking away from this lunch today as well, Leah, is hearing you, Dr. Hicks, talk about just the naming the 80% AMI to 100% AMI like worker housing. And you said you don't like that. You like to call it middle income. And that is sitting with me because I call it worker housing all the time. And yet, that's as if saying the people who are living in our shelter don't work, right? And actually, and that is not what the experience of this economy is for many people. There aren't that many people. There are some who just say, I am not a worker. Right, but you go through this fluctuation of how much employment you have and how much it's meeting the bottom line for your family. So I am taking with me optimism for 2026 and solving these problems together, and then reminding myself to really pause and think about how we talk about families' needs.
That was good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what you said, what Liz said, I mean, look, we have to partner, right? We have to be innovative in our approach. We have to make sure that people understand we're here and how we do actually have resources in place. Now, my approach is a little different because I believe that money matters, right? So I think I'm hopeful because I think we need to raise more money. We need to increase our capacity to have enterprise within all nonprofit organizations to help offset and to provide more to the people we're serving.
I want to stay with that because I do think that we're not going to talk about it today. That's a whole nother conversation, but the philanthropy looks different. Like you said, public funding looks different. And so how do we, in the nonprofit sector, meeting missional needs, really continue to double down our efforts to have that self-sufficiency that allows us to go out into the community and continue doing the work?
Enterprise.
Enterprise. There's word. Dr. Hicks, what are you thinking for 26? You gave us your summary of high-level things, but what are you thinking as someone who thinks about housing a lot and looks at the numbers behind housing? What do you think will turn the corner for us, and what are you looking forward to in 2026?
Yeah, 2026 is going to be a difficult year. It's going to be a difficult year because I think nationally you're going to see home prices drop. You're going to see places that are attractive. They're not going to drop as much. People still going to live here. Mortgage rates will drop a little bit. Not nearly what we think they will as the Federal Reserve cuts rates over the next several months. If tariffs end, we hopefully by the Supreme Court, we'll see costs drop substantially. And that would be a very welcome thing that may boost us out of a downturn next spring, late next spring, if all those things come together. My bigger enthusiasm is that as I talk around the country and as I listen to where people are thinking about what they're doing economically, there's much more focus on state and local solutions. And when we live in a period where we've had a lot of federal dollars to help solve problems, and we've solved a bajillion problems over the past 20 years or 30 years. And now I think one of the things that's done is softened the resilience and the capacity of local government to solve their own problems. So if this is a turning point that it looks past the chaos of DC, any federal budget, no matter how it's structured, is going to be leaner. It's going to require more tax dollars and less spending, and more pressure is going to be put on local folks to solve their own problems. That's a long-term good that could come out of this chaos.
Thank you for that. So please join me in thanking our panel for their thoughts and sharing their thoughts today.
Thank you. That was good comment.
Thank you.
Before we close out our program, welcome back to the podium, Leah Evans.
So we come to that time. I know I'm over my time. I've kept y'all a little bit longer, but give me just 2 minutes and we'll get you out of here. So I want to thank you all for attending Voice and Vision again with us here this year. It is in settings like this with all of you change makers, and believe that you are a change maker sitting right here in your seat, that we can tackle the issues that matter to us most. I'm thankful for the support of all of you in attending today. I'm thank you for the boldness of our voice honoree, Michael Corey, to say what needs to be said, for the inspiration of our vision honoree, Jeff Edwards, leading others across our community to see a better future for us. I'm thankful for the expertise of Dr. Hicks and his willingness to share with us. And I'm thankful to my friends and peers, both Elizabeth and Charles, who are willing to sit down and have conversations that matter. So once again, I ask you to consider, how do you fit in? If you find yourself motivated by our speakers or any of the stories you've heard today, I encourage you to scan the QR code on your table tents to take a moment to text to give. I want to give you as much time to do that as you need, so you can take that card with you, and you'll get an email after this event to remind you of your opportunity to give. Before we say goodbye and I send you on your way until next year, I want to express my sincere gratitude and tremendous amount of appreciation for all of our wonderful partners, funders, stakeholders, my Homeport team, my Homeport board, and our Central Ohio community for supporting us and doing the work that we do, lifting people up every day. It's been vital to the continued work of our Homeport to have you. We could not do it without you. So thank you to our presenting sponsors, to all of our sponsors. You'll see them again on all of our signs and all of our signage across the room. I won't read them again. But each year, not only do we have funding support, but also our board members give countless hours of their time every year in the governance of our organization. So if you see one of them, thank them, give them a Homeport high five, let them know you appreciate them. Finally, I want to say that we are stronger together. We're also better together. And I really wanted to, this year, we talked as a team, what did we want to leave you with? We wanted you to have knowledge and power and feel encouraged and uplifted, but also be able to steer what challenges are in front of us straight on. See it as it is. And so we hope you feel like you leave here informed, you know more about us, you you know more about what's going on in our housing market, and you see ways that you can fit in to help us make real change. Before everyone rushes out, I want to bring your attention to your program cards. You know, we like to give out some books now. If yours has a star on it, congratulations. You have won a free copy of There Is No Place for Us by Brian Goldstone. Please bring your card to the table outside to collect your prize. If you still want a book, we probably going to have some, so we can get you a book if you still would like one. Thank you all so much for being here, for helping us celebrate and supporting us in our community. Thank you all. We'll see you again next year.
Wait.
Oh, wait. We're not
Finished yet.
Oh, wait.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Off the presses. Let me get out the way.
This afternoon has been a celebration of voices, the voices of families who found hope, and the celebration of vision, the vision for moving forward, and vision that keeps Homeport moving. All right, this is an activity you all can participate in. Give me the lights. Let me see your phone. Who has your phone available? All right, now you can scan your QR code and you can donate now. And let me tell you what your donation goes towards, okay? Every gift, no matter the size, is a voice of hope, is a gift of hope. So your gift will help with holiday gifts for all of our children. We serve over 2,000 children in our communities. Your gifts will help with winter coats for our children. Or if you're feeling really philanthropic, your gift can help our seniors, our active older adults, with their senior prom. So come on, pull out your phones, scan your QR code. If you're a guest at a table, come on, table guests, scan your QR code so you can give now. And we will build our house together. Thank you so much.
So again, this is why I have her. So again, thank you all so much. So good to see you. We look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day.
I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world, eh? Been waiting on this for a while now, paying my dues to the dirt. I've been waiting to smile, eh? To hold it in for a while, eh? Take you with me if I can. Been dreaming of this since a child. I'm on top of the world. I've tried to cut these corners, try to take the easy way out. I kept on falling short of something. I could have gave up then, but then again I couldn't have, 'cause I've traveled all this way for something. I take it in, but don't look down. 'Cause I'm on top of the world, eh? I'm on top of the world, eh? Been waiting on this for a while now, paying my dues to the dirt. I've been waiting to smile, eh? To hold it in for a while, eh? Take you with me if I can. Been dreaming of this since a child. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world, eh?